Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. The Miami Dolphins are entering the 2025 season with a clear message. Their offense is far from solved, and they intend to prove it on the field. After a 2024 campaign where the unit remained efficient but lost critical pieces that had defined previous years under Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins are in a transitional phase. The departure of a dynamic element in the passing game and a dependable rushing attack left the team vulnerable to defensive schemes that have evolved league-wide. Miami's staff, led by senior passing game coordinator Bobby Slowik, understands that merely relying on what worked in prior seasons won't suffice. The NFL has shifted, with defensive coordinators deploying more sophisticated two-high safety shells designed to limit explosive plays. Slowik has spent countless hours analyzing film from 2022 through 2024, identifying both subtle and substantial shifts in defensive tendencies. He emphasizes that while the offense must adapt, its core principles, spacing, timing, and unpredictability, remain foundational. Slowik's observations about the spike in two-high defenses last year are not just theoretical. They are grounded in statistics that tell the story of a Dolphins offense under siege. In 2024, Miami faced the most dropbacks in the league against two-high safety schemes, totaling 202 instances. This doesn't even account for cover, for looks, which also aim to neutralize vertical threats and big plays. By almost every measure, defenses dictated terms to the Dolphins last season, forcing them into reactive situations that hindered their rhythm. Slowik's approach in 2025 is to disrupt that dynamic. By threatening defenses in ways opponents haven't previously encountered, the Dolphins hope to reclaim control. He emphasizes a philosophy that combines pre-snap deception, varied personnel groupings, and strategic motioning to force defensive coordinators to make uncomfortable decisions. The key is not merely reacting to defenses, but shaping the way they respond, regaining the initiative that slipped away in 2024. Part of Miami's challenge lies in balancing multiple offensive dimensions simultaneously, especially after losing ground in the running game. The Dolphins dropped from 4th in rushing success rate in 2023 to 27th in 2024, a decline that reverberated through the passing game. Vertical shots downfield became scarce, with the team producing just 15 passing plays exceeding 25 yards. In Slowik's view, the solution isn't as simple as running the ball better. The NFL operates on nuanced interactions between timing, personnel, and matchups. When both the run and pass are functioning optimally, an offense becomes thrilling, yet that balance is rare over the course of a season. Miami's coaching staff is dedicating significant attention to game planning strategies that accommodate ebb and flow, ensuring that the offense can respond to defensive adjustments dynamically rather than rigidly adhering to scripts that worked in past years. To combat the rise of two-high defensive schemes, Miami must innovate both pre-snap and post-snap. The Dolphins' offense is structurally different from most teams in the league, incorporating pre-snap motions, heavy outside zone runs, and elite speed that create unique challenges for defenses. This diversity forces opposing coordinators to devise equally unique solutions, resulting in a chess match where predicting outcomes is almost impossible. Slowik emphasizes that the team's focus cannot solely rest on anticipation, but must center on fundamentals and technique. Every player, from quarterback to receiver, must execute their assignments flawlessly post-snap, regardless of what the defense presents. By reinforcing these foundational elements, the Dolphins aim to create an offense that can adapt in real time, maintaining precision and rhythm even against the league's most sophisticated defensive alignments. Post-snap execution is particularly critical in Miami's system, where unpredictability is a deliberate offensive weapon. Slowik notes that across every position, players are trained to react immediately and correctly after the snap, a skill that separates good offenses from elite ones. With so many variables, success often hinges on reaction time and disciplined technique rather than pre-snap reads alone. Miami's offensive philosophy emphasizes creating leverage through fundamentals, ensuring that even when defenses deploy complex schemes or disguise coverages, the Dolphins can exploit small edges. This approach also prepares the team for scenarios where initial reads break down, allowing them to maintain tempo and sustained drives. Slowick's confidence in these principles reflects a coaching staff that is not merely aware of past shortcomings, but actively planning to neutralize them through preparation, execution, and flexibility. A critical component of Miami's 2025 offense will be its ability to vary formations and personnel groupings to keep defenses guessing. Slowick highlights that the Dolphins can stretch the field horizontally and vertically, sometimes presenting 5 receivers, other times relying on only 2 while maintaining protection and efficiency. This variety creates uncertainty for defensive coordinators, forcing them to commit to one strategy while remaining vulnerable in other areas. By blending these approaches, Miami can reclaim the explosive dynamics that have defined its best seasons. The staff believes this flexibility, paired with improved fundamentals, will allow the offense to generate big plays despite the league-wide trend toward too high safety shells. It's a calculated gamble, one rooted in the conviction that unpredictability and disciplined execution can consistently tilt the field in the Dolphins' favor. The running game, while diminished in 2024, remains a focus for revitalization. Slowick and the coaching staff understand that even moderate improvements in rushing efficiency can unlock opportunities in the passing game, particularly for vertical shots that stress safeties and create mismatches. The interdependency of the run and pass in Miami's scheme means that defensive adjustments to one dimension often open avenues in another. By emphasizing balance and unpredictability, the Dolphins hope to restore an offense capable of dominating both horizontally and vertically. Slowick stresses that while the team cannot control every defensive nuance, it can control execution and spacing, and by mastering these variables, the Dolphins can maintain consistency despite increasingly sophisticated defensive schematics deployed across the NFL. Game planning in the modern NFL is only half the battle. Success often depends on adaptability in real time. The Dolphins coaching staff is acutely aware that even the most intricate pre-snap strategies are only as effective as players' reactions after the ball is snapped. Miami's offense is built to thrive on those post-snap adjustments, ensuring that players have the freedom and understanding to exploit mismatches created in live action. This approach requires extensive preparation, repeated drills, and precise attention to detail, as any misstep can allow defenses to regain leverage. By focusing on these elements, the Dolphins aim to create a system where intelligence, anticipation, and technical execution intersect, maximizing the potential for explosive plays and sustained drives. Ultimately, the 2025 Miami Dolphins offense represents a blend of innovation, discipline, and adaptability. Bobby Slowick's vision hinges on reclaiming control from defenses that dominated last season through advanced schemes and too high shells. By emphasizing fundamentals, spacing, post-snap reactions, and flexible personnel groupings, Miami aims to prove that its offense has not been solved, despite past setbacks. The team's success will depend on a combination of individual execution and collective chemistry, ensuring that every player understands both their role and how to react when defenses deviate from expectations. Fans should anticipate an offense that is smarter, faster, and more dynamic, designed to reclaim the explosive identity that has made the Dolphins one of the most exciting teams to watch in recent years. In short, Miami intends to make 2025 the year they remind the NFL that no defense has fully cracked their code. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Fins this week? Breaking news is buzzing through the NFL rumor mill tonight, and the name on everyone's lips is Surtain II. Sources close to the situation are hinting that the standout cornerback, known for his lockdown coverage and elite instincts, is reportedly closing in on a deal with the Miami Dolphins, a move that could shake the defensive landscape of the entire league. While nothing has been officially confirmed, insiders suggest that Surtain's decision to consider Miami is fueled not just by contract numbers, but by the team's strategic vision, its young roster, and the chance to partner with rising stars in a secondary that has struggled to find consistency in recent seasons. The chatter indicates that discussions have accelerated over the past week, with multiple meetings between Surtain's representatives and Dolphins executives, signaling a serious commitment from both sides to finalize what could be one of the most impactful defensive signings in recent NFL history. Analysts are speculating on how Surtain's arrival might influence the Dolphins' defensive schemes, particularly in the secondary, where his versatility could allow the coaching staff to experiment with aggressive man-to-man coverage while also maintaining solid zone fundamentals. Fans are already flooding social media with mixed reactions, ranging from cautious optimism to outright excitement, imagining scenarios where Surtain locks down top receivers week after week. The underlying tone in these whispers from the league suggests that this is more than a typical free agent signing. It could mark the start of a defensive renaissance in Miami, one that might reshape the AFC East hierarchy. Observers are also noting the potential ripple effects on other teams, as rival franchises may now feel pressure to respond in kind, potentially igniting a mini-arms race for elite cornerback talent before the season officially kicks off. The intrigue surrounding Surtain's next move is fueling a media frenzy, with sports commentators, former players, and analysts weighing in on the possible impact of his choice, keeping fans on edge as every rumor gets dissected and debated across multiple platforms. The whispers around Surtain II's supposed move to Miami are creating an atmosphere of anticipation that could rival the excitement of any draft day in recent memory. Speculators are suggesting that Surtain's interest in the Dolphins is not purely about salary, but rather the chance to join a team with a defensive coordinator known for maximizing player strengths and creativity in coverage schemes. According to insiders, Surtain has been impressed by the Dolphins' front office approach, emphasizing long-term stability and a clear path to contention, which contrasts with some franchises that have experienced turmoil in recent seasons. Observers believe that Miami's willingness to build around him could be a decisive factor, especially considering Surtain's reputation for wanting a team that values his impact both on and off the field. Rumors suggest that the Dolphins see him as a cornerstone player, someone who can mentor younger teammates while anchoring a defensive backfield that has often been criticized for inconsistency. There's also speculation about how Surtain's presence could change the dynamics of Miami's defensive game plans, offering opportunities for more aggressive blitz packages, flexible coverage schemes, and the ability to challenge the league's top passing attacks more confidently. Fans are already theorizing about dream matchups and highlight reel moments, imagining Surtain shadowing premier wide receivers with precision, shutting down offensive options, and providing the kind of coverage that shifts the momentum of critical games. The rumor mill also hints at potential contract structures, performance incentives, and guarantees that could make this a high-profile deal designed to reward both talent and leadership, adding another layer of excitement and anticipation to the speculation surrounding this emerging story. Insiders are not shy about dropping hints that Surtain II's potential arrival in Miami could trigger a domino effect across the NFL, as rival teams scramble to evaluate their own defensive options in response. The speculation is mounting that this signing, if finalized, may become a blueprint for how elite defensive players negotiate contracts, influence team strategies, and impact roster building in the modern league. According to whispered sources, Surtain's preference for a situation that balances competitive ambition with organizational stability has put Miami in a prime position to land a player who could instantly elevate their secondary to elite status. Sports analysts are suggesting that Surtain's combination of size, speed, and instinctual football IQ makes him uniquely equipped to adapt to the Dolphins' defensive philosophy, offering versatility against both high-powered passing attacks and emerging rushing schemes. Meanwhile, fans are theorizing about the potential chemistry between Surtain and existing cornerbacks, imagining how his presence might create a domino effect, improving communication, coverage rotations, and overall secondary cohesion. Some murmurs even hint at subtle negotiations with other defensive free agents who might now be more inclined to consider Miami, perceiving a revitalized defensive vision anchored by Surtain. Social media is ablaze with graphics, highlight reels, and speculative analysis, showcasing the anticipation and excitement swirling around this potential blockbuster. Commentators are debating whether Surtain's influence could extend beyond the field, shaping culture, leadership dynamics, and team morale, highlighting just how impactful this rumored acquisition could be if it comes to fruition. The ongoing chatter paints a picture of Miami as a team on the brink of a major transformation, with Surtain signing as the potential catalyst for a defensively dominant era that could redefine expectations in the AFC East. Rumors surrounding Patrick Surtain II have intensified to the point where even casual NFL fans are aware of the whispers linking him to the Miami Dolphins, creating a palpable buzz reminiscent of high-stakes trade speculation in past seasons. The narrative being circulated by sources close to the player suggests that Surtain is intrigued by the challenge of joining a secondary that, despite flashes of potential, has struggled with consistency and depth, leaving a gap that his elite skill set could fill immediately. Analysts note that Surtain's style of play, aggressive yet calculated, athletic yet cerebral, fits perfectly with Miami's defensive coordinator's approach, which emphasizes flexibility, anticipation, and the ability to disrupt opposing offenses at multiple levels. The murmurs also hint at potential leadership roles for Surtain, positioning him not only as a star on the field, but also as a guiding force for younger teammates who are looking to develop into reliable contributors. Rumor columns speculate that his influence could extend into team culture, setting standards for professionalism, preparation, and accountability. Meanwhile, insiders are feeding stories about how this deal, if finalized, might spark reactions from other teams, prompting them to reconsider strategies for cornerback acquisitions and defensive roster building. Social media chatter continues to fuel the excitement, with fans debating scenarios, drafting fantasy implications, and analyzing potential highlight plays that could emerge once Surtain steps into a Dolphins uniform. The speculative energy surrounding this potential signing has grown so intense that it feels less like mere rumor and more like a slowly unfolding saga, with each new tidbit adding fuel to the narrative that Miami could soon be home to one of the league's premier defensive talents. Sources close to Patrick Surtain II are fueling the rumor mill with hints that the cornerback is actively weighing his options and that the Miami Dolphins are at the forefront of serious conversations, with meetings reportedly taking place over multiple days and locations. Industry insiders suggest that Surtain is drawn to the Dolphins' combination of competitive ambition and organizational structure, noting that the team has demonstrated a consistent commitment to building a winning culture, particularly in defensive schematics. Analysts speculate that Surtain's arrival would provide the Dolphins with a rare blend of size, athleticism, and instinctual football intelligence, which could immediately elevate their secondary from a unit often criticized for vulnerability into a dominant, versatile force capable of pressuring quarterbacks, neutralizing top wide receivers, and providing coverage support across multiple levels of the field. Fans and commentators are already buzzing about potential matchups against elite receivers in the AFC and beyond, imagining highlight reel moments and game-changing plays that could define Miami's defensive identity for years to come. Rumors suggest that contract discussions are not just about base salary, but also about performance incentives, leadership clauses, and guaranteed protections that align with Surtain's desire to be part of a long-term project rather than a short-term fix. The story circulating in the media paints a picture of a cornerback who is deliberate in his choices, seeking both personal success and team impact, which makes Miami an attractive landing spot. Meanwhile, speculation persists that other franchises could react to this potential signing by shifting strategies, revisiting defensive priorities, or even attempting last-minute negotiations in an effort to counter Miami's apparent momentum. The chatter is vibrant, filled with optimism, uncertainty, and calculated anticipation, creating a perfect storm for one of the most talked-about potential acquisitions in recent NFL history. Whispers from league insiders indicate that Patrick Surtain II's potential move to the Miami Dolphins could have far-reaching implications not only for the team itself, but for the balance of power in the AFC East. Analysts speculate that if Surtain finalizes his deal, the Dolphins' defensive scheme could be revolutionized, integrating more aggressive man-to-man coverage, creative zone rotations, and flexible coverage adjustments that take advantage of Surtain's exceptional field awareness. Sources suggest that Surtain is weighing not just financial incentives, but also the chance to join a team with a clearly defined defensive philosophy, promising young talent around him, and coaching that prioritizes player strengths and development. Social media chatter reflects this excitement, with fans theorizing about dream scenarios, highlight reels, and game-changing moments in key matchups against divisional rivals. Rumor columns also hint at internal discussions within Miami, considering how best to utilize Surtain as a central figure, potentially even restructuring roles in the secondary to maximize his impact. Commentators are speculating about ripple effects on other teams, suggesting that Surtain's signing could trigger responses from competitors who may feel pressured to pursue similar elite talent to remain competitive. There is also discussion among insiders about the broader cultural impact, suggesting that Surtain could influence locker room dynamics, set performance expectations, and mentor younger defensive players, creating a cascading effect that reshapes the team's identity. The anticipation around this potential move has created an atmosphere of suspense, fueled by rumors, leaked insights, and fan imagination, giving the narrative a cinematic quality that makes it feel as though the NFL landscape could shift dramatically with a single signing. Industry sources hint that Patrick Surtain II's potential alignment with the Miami Dolphins is being orchestrated with precision, reflecting both the player's strategic approach to career moves and the organization's desire to signal a new era in defensive dominance. Speculative reports suggest that Surtain's evaluation process goes beyond contract numbers, focusing heavily on team culture, coaching philosophy, and the opportunity to impact a secondary in need of a transformational figure. Analysts are buzzing about the possible matchups and defensive configurations that could emerge, imagining how Surtain's presence might allow for more aggressive blitzing schemes, complex coverage rotations, and the ability to neutralize elite wide receivers with greater consistency. The rumor mill also suggests that Miami executives are considering complementary moves to surround Surtain with talent capable of maximizing his influence, including potential free agent pickups or draft strategies aimed at reinforcing the secondary. Fans are theorizing about the synergy between Surtain and the team's defensive veterans, imagining how mentorship and elite skill development could create a domino effect, improving communication, anticipation, and overall defensive cohesion. Commentary across social media and sports media outlets is increasingly focused on the psychological impact of such a signing, speculating that Surtain's presence could instill confidence, accountability, and a competitive mindset throughout the roster. Meanwhile, whispers indicate that rival teams are closely monitoring the situation, ready to react if Miami succeeds in finalizing a deal, potentially creating a chain reaction of defensive maneuvers league-wide. The anticipation surrounding this potential signing has elevated it beyond a simple player acquisition, positioning it as a story that could define narratives, matchups, and rivalries throughout the upcoming season. Speculative voices are increasingly suggesting that Patrick Surtain II's rumored move to Miami could mark a turning point not just for the Dolphins, but for the entire AFC East, potentially reshaping competitive dynamics and forcing other franchises to reconsider defensive priorities. Sources claim that Surtain is drawn to Miami's vision of building a sustainable, aggressive, and adaptable defensive unit capable of handling the league's most prolific passing attacks, making his potential decision as much about strategic fit as it is about personal career advancement. Analysts are actively debating the tactical implications, theorizing that his inclusion could allow for innovative coverage schemes, more aggressive cornerback matchups, and creative deployment that leverages his athleticism, intelligence, and instinctive playmaking ability. Fans are already visualizing highlight plays, crucial turnovers, and dramatic game-changing moments that Surtain could provide in prime matchups, while rumor columns speculate on how his leadership could influence younger defensive backs, improve communication, and raise the overall level of performance across the secondary. Behind the scenes, whispers suggest that contract negotiations include unique clauses designed to balance performance incentives, guarantees, and long-term security, reflecting both Surtain's strategic thinking and Miami's commitment to building a cornerstone player. Media chatter emphasizes potential ripple effects, as rival teams might scramble to respond with their own acquisitions or tactical adjustments to counter Miami's newfound defensive strength. The excitement and tension surrounding this rumor create a narrative full of drama, anticipation, and high stakes, turning what might otherwise be a standard signing into a saga that captivates fans, analysts, and insiders alike. The buzz surrounding Patrick Surtain II continues to grow, with sources hinting that Miami's approach to landing the cornerback is meticulous, combining contract negotiations, strategic planning, and a vision for defensive transformation that aligns with both the player's ambitions and the team's long-term goals. Observers speculate that Surtain's evaluation goes beyond salary, focusing on the opportunity to join a team with a coherent philosophy, a clear developmental trajectory for young talent, and coaching that prioritizes player strengths, adaptability, and leadership cultivation. Rumors suggest that Surtain could immediately influence the Dolphins' defensive schemes, providing versatility, matchup flexibility, and an elevated standard of play that forces opposing offenses to rethink strategies. Fans are actively engaging with highlight reels, hypothetical matchups, and social media speculation, imagining a defensive secondary anchored by Surtain and capable of game-changing plays week after week. Insider chatter indicates that Miami may also be exploring complementary moves, whether through free agency or the draft, to surround Surtain with talent capable of maximizing his impact. Analysts emphasize the cultural implications, suggesting that his leadership, professionalism, and approach to preparation could influence locker room dynamics, instill confidence, and enhance team cohesion. The rumor mill further speculates on potential ripple effects, with rival teams possibly accelerating plans for defensive acquisitions or tactical adjustments in anticipation of Miami's transformation. Every leaked insight, whispered meeting, and social media debate adds fuel to the narrative, creating a sense of suspense, excitement, and strategic anticipation surrounding one of the most intriguing potential NFL signings in recent years. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.